Hello everyone, I am Xerix, Lord Sentinel, and welcome back to Century of Economy! When we left off, resources had just changed value, and the Americans had attacked the Spanish. Now, on to the action! With minerals now worth their face value of 6, the French scrambled to gather as much of the resource as possible. Here, several of their runners have docked at the island and loaded full holds. Treasures are transferred between the Tilnel and La Triomphe. The two French bombardiers have taken up residence in Voyageur Bay, helping to defend the island from any potential threats. At the end of their turn, the French cash in all the minerals gathered, adding on to their fortune, and purchase an event. Crossing over the Sargasso, the Cruz de Cristo easily takes one of the towers of the castle. The Shuizian attempts to break away and make a run for it. However, she is badly damaged and on fire, with only the Protector de España to cover her. The Protector is not doing much better, with one mast standing of 4, and a host of American ships to contend with. As is, she has managed to eliminate 2 masts from the United States. On the eastern side of the castle, the Trinity and Resolution switch places, with the Resolution gaining another fire mast as a result. The Trinity sighted the Kentucky and opened fire, taking 2 masts from the American ship. Bringing her 20 cannons to bear, the Santissima Trinidad dismasts the Hudson and brings the Constitution and Swamp Fox down to 1 mast standing each in a single shoot action. Given an extra action, the Trinidad moves forward, sinking the Hudson, dismasting the Constitution, and crippling the Albany. Firing off her final row of extra cannons, the Trinidad sinks the Constitution and Swamp Fox, then dismasts the Albany. Knowing that the Americans will stop at nothing to sink the Trinidad, the Spanish move their ships accordingly, with the Santo Columba shielding her exposed broadside. La Muerte moves into the space created by the Trinidad and brings her own devastating cannons to bear against the Americans, eliminating 2 masts on the Pearl and Appalachian. El Cresta del Obispo puts out her fire and begins to hobble back to port. Behind her, the Granada screens for La Muerte. However, the Granada is unable to meaningfully damage either the Pearl or Appalachian, and forgets that L-range cannons cannot hit the Georgetown. Moving to block lines of fire on the Obispo, the Resistencia gets into position on the stern of the Granada. Given an extra action, the Granada manages to eliminate a mast from the Appalachian. At the end of their turn, the Spanish spend a good chunk of gold to launch at Pathway Island and at Kanohi Island. Cazador del Pirata, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. El Relampago, with captain, helmsman, firepot specialist, cannoneer, and oarsman. El Corazon del Mar, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. El Montecristo, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, firepot specialist, and oarsman. La Furia del Infierno, with captain Daniel de la Vega, helmsman, firepot specialist, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. El Lázaro, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. Mano de Dios, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. La Animadora, with captain, helmsman, musketeer, and oarsman. El Acorazado from Ocean's Edge, with captain, helmsman, gunner, cannoneer, grapeshot, and oarsman. And the Cazador Real, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. Using the Kraken Gong, the Americans place Beastie in Spanish waters. The Vermontan Spirit make land at the Archway Island. Meanwhile, the Cheyenne plots a course north. Once again succeeding with a broadsides attack, the United States sinks the Protector de España. Pursuing the Shuizian, the Saratoga eliminates another mast from the giant ship, bringing her down to 3 standing. Following her fellow schooner, the Jackson pours on the fire and brings the Shuizian down to 1 mast remaining. Catching up, the President dismasts the Shuizian and then promptly sinks her. Moving with the rest of the squadron, the Boston draws a line of fire on the Cazadora and sinks the ship. All that is left of the western Spanish squadron is the now derelict Picador, Bazana, El Algeciras, and Diablo Flotilla. Even though L-range cannons cannot hit the Bazana, the Americans have enough ships with S-range cannons nearby to eliminate one of her masts. Succeeding with her sim-action twice, the Excelsior moves into position, sinking the Picador and taking the bow mast of the Algeciras. the James Madison gets into position and dismasts both the Algeciras and Bazana. Given an extra action, the Madison sinks the Bazana. On the western side of the castle, the Kentucky slams into the Trinity, but does no significant damage. Slinking around the Kentucky, the Intrepid somehow manages to get a line of fire on the Acorazado. Using her fire pot, the Intrepid sets the Acorazado aflame and eliminates one of her masts. The Santo Columba is sunk. In Spanish waters, Beastie surrounds El Dorado. Back at the castle, the dangerous Mohican crosses the bow of the Trinidad and sails broadside to the Trinity, setting her aflame. Right behind the Mohican comes the Lennox, who brings her guns to bear against the Trinity. The Lennox gives the Trinity another fire mast and eliminates another one of her masts, putting serious hurt on her. From above, the Appalachian and Pearl have eliminated 3 of La Muerte's masts. Using fear, the Americans bring the Atlantis to the surface. Getting the first hits in, the Louisiana gives the giant sub a fire mast. Using an extra action, the Louisiana eliminates the sternmost segment of the Atlantis. Behind her, the Georgetown has eliminated a mast from the Granada. A wide shot reveals that the Atlantis is likely doomed, as the Ghost Walker is on her way with backup. Getting in on the action, the Gold Eagle eliminates the bow segment of the Atlantis. She uses her reverse captain ability to ram into the sub and eliminate another segment. The Paladin eliminates the last segment of the Atlantis, leaving the sub derelict. However, the Paladin also set herself on fire in the process, with a backfiring fire shot. An extra action is metered out, and the Gold Eagle sinks the Atlantis. Once again using her reverse captain ability, the Gold Eagle slams into the Resistencia, but fails to do any damage. Back near the castle, the Pawtucket somehow finds a line of fire onto the Trinity and gives her yet another fire mast. Wary of the curse due to past experience, the Justice opens fire on Rapurak, eliminating 2 of the giant crab's segments. The Atlanta is given killing honors, quite literally. Using an extra action, the Intrepid sails onto the overhang of the castle and crosses the bow of the Acorazado, giving her another fire mast and reducing her down to 1 mast standing. In addition, the Intrepid successfully takes over the associated tower of the castle. An extra action is given to the Mohican, who does not miss again, and hits the Acorazado with another fire mast. A wide shot of the entire situation at the castle. The Americans have made almost no forward progress despite striking first and striking hard. The Spanish have managed to delay the Americans, but have yet to mount a successful counterattack. At the end of their turn, the Americans launch 3 mercenary ships at Thompson's Island: the Alexandre, the Marchetes, and Hephaestus. With conflict far away, the English focus on gathering gold. Making a trip to the Cliff Island, the pirates explore it and find food, now worth its face value. With no oarsmen aboard, the Orphan is rescued by the Star of Siam. A wide shot of pirate waters, they have created a block against the Phantom in the south, allowing the Golden Medusa to row to the home island. Cursed ships dock at the Pyramid Island. The Cursed are taking care to bring an explorer in case they don't like what they initially find. Shallbala returns to Poseidon's Eye, and watches as the native canoes sail south. An overhead shot of the area around the entrance to the sub-ocean. Sea monsters travel these waters frequently on their way to the home island and back. The Cursed have renewed their efforts to upgrade their colony. At the beginning of their turn, the French play their purchased event, Rolling Fog. They place it on a fog bank on the northern side of Voyanui. Resource ships clog the waters around the home island, gathering minerals from nearby Tutorial Island. The chain exploring system is put to use, sending a coin back to the Scipion. Inside Voyanui Bay, ships dock at the beach and load minerals. At their line of battle, the gun ports slide open and the French open fire on the Americans. La Vengeance leaps forward, ramming into the Louisiana and firing cannons. However, she fails to do any meaningful damage. Behind her, Le Superbe and the Soleil Royal get into position, bringing their cannons to bear against the Americans to their starboard. The real action takes place behind them, as the Première Republique is unleashed, first eliminating 3 masts from the USS Constitution. She is then given an extra action and eliminates 2 masts from the Gemstone. Periscope is used to bring the Ulysses to the surface, making her vulnerable. The French pounce immediately, eliminating 3 segments from the American submarine and inflicting serious damage on her crew. La Belle Etoile is given a second action and opens fire again, eliminating another segment and even more crew from the ship. Moving from their guard post at Voie-Nui, La Province and Mont Blanc sail broadside to the Cheyenne, completely dismasting the ship. At the end of their turn, the French launched 3 ships across their waters: l'Afrique with Jean de Zélie, Infant Terrible with Vicomte Angélique de Richelieu, helmsman and oarsman, and Revolution with Admiral Jacques Arethiel, André Martin, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. Crossing over the reefs, the Cruz de Cristo loses 2 masts. The cannons of the Diablo open fire, but do no meaningful damage to the American attackers. Using her cannons for the first time, the El Dorado misses completely against Beastie. El Rosal attempts to retake part of the castle, but fails, losing a mast. In the gathering darkness, La Fuega tries to get to the front lines. On her starboard, La Ebro also looks to get in on the fighting, but is blocked by ships ahead of her. Heaving around with her oarsmen, the Acorazado points her bow in the direction of Split Island, the only safe dock near the conflict. On the left, the Asesina makes contact with the Acorazado. Finding an opening, both La Fuega and the Calavera del Diablo tear into the encroaching Americans. The Intrepid is reduced to 1 mast standing. A wider shot reveals that the Trinidad is on the move again. Unleashing a devastating salvo, the Mohican is dismasted, along with the Appellation. Using the rest of her cannons, the Trinidad sinks the derelict hulks of the Mohican, Albany, and Appellation. With her lines of fire no longer blocked, the Lennox and Pearl are the next ships to feel the wrath of the Trinidad. Moving the oarsmen off of the Acorazado, the Cielo Español takes the ship under tow and uses an extra action to dock at Split Island, depositing the Acorazado on the opposite side of the island and putting out her fires. With more space, the Granada sails to the port side of the Trinidad in an attempt to shield her from American fire. At the end of their turn, the Spanish launched La Sombra, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, firepot specialist, exploding shot, and oarsman from the Pathway Island. The very thing that brought Beastie into play suddenly removes it. The Spanish catch a small break. A wide shot of the entire battle at the castle and surrounding areas. The Americans now find themselves fighting the Spanish and French. Docking at home, the Spirit reveals a 100 value coin and the Even Star treasure, which triples the value of the lowest value treasure on board. The Americans instantly gain 300 gold. Submerging the Ulysses, the Americans send her to home waters as quickly as possible. Turning on their new enemy, the Americans tear into the French, or try to. The Premier Republique will be difficult to deal with, given her S-range immunity. The Gold Eagle attempts to ram a mast off La Ebro, but fails. Joining her attempt is the Louisiana, who fails her ram attempt, but does succeed in setting the Resistencia aflame. With a successful broadsides attack, the Amber Flame dismasts the Belle Etoile. Several American derelicts row into fog to escape enemy cannons, and to free up space for healthier ships to move in. In the center, the Georgetown and USS Ironsides lead a charge against the French and Spanish. Behind them, the Ghost Walker lurks. The Paladin backfires again, setting herself ablaze. Wheeling around, the USS Ironsides and Strife ram into the French line. However, both ships fail to do any meaningful damage. Recognizing that the Premier Republique will be a massive problem, the Americans deploy the Ghost Walker, who gets within range and cancels her S immunity. The Americans quickly take advantage, eliminating one of the Premier's masts. Not waiting for the ship to burn to the waterline, the Americans sink the Trinity. With the Trinity out of the way, the Americans now have an opening to get deeper into Spanish waters. Slipping between the heavily damaged Granada and the Trinidad, the Concorde lets loose, eliminating 2 of the Trinidad's masts. Getting her bow in range, the Venture lets loose with her own cannons, working around Ludditt's revenge and dismasting the Trinidad. Jumping forward into position, the New Orleans makes contact with the Trinidad. An extra action is given to the New Orleans, who explores the Trinidad and steals the ship back to the American home island. Elsewhere, the Overton gives the Premier Republique a fire mast. Moving around her fleet mates, the Vengeance shoots through a gap and eliminates a mast from the Soleil Royal. Given an extra action, the Venture sinks the Resistencia. Moving away from the castle, the Kentucky dismasks the Granada. The fearsome USS Kettering moves into position and brings La Ebro down to 2 masts standing. La Vengeance is double-teamed and brought down to 1 mast remaining. On the western side of the castle, El Algeciras is sunk. With a successful extra action roll, the Celtic Fury flies into the scene, broadsiding the Diablo flotilla. With a double bonus to her cannons, the Fury easily sinks the Spanish flotilla. The massive ship then levies a boarding action against the Spanish-controlled tower, and easily wins. Squeezing into a gap, the Black Watch gets her bow cannons in range of the Premier Republique, bringing her down to 1 mast standing. The Hephaestus emerges from the eastern portal. Given an extra action, the Kettering finishes what she started and dismasts the Ebro. At the end of their turn, the Americans launch, dipping into the privateer factions as they have literally run out of their own ships to launch. Grand Temple, with Katsura-chan, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. Virtuous Wind, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. Munin, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. Naegling, with Shayna Diu, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. Grand Path, with Cheng Pao, Qian Ni, captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. La Vampira, with captain, helmsman, musketeer, and oarsman. Death Strike, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, musketeer, and oarsman. Firehammer, with captain, helmsman, firepot, fire shot, and oarsman. Dark Repulsor, with captain, helmsman, and oarsman. El Rubor, with captain, helmsman, cannoneer, and oarsman. And Ryu Jingu, with captain, helmsman, and oarsman. At their home island, the pirates welcome back the Golden Medusa. Ships warily approach the Phantom. Sea monsters lazily move between the sub-ocean and the cursed home island, slowly bringing their treasures home. The cursed upgrade their colony from level 3 to level 4. And that wraps up this report. The French have gotten involved in the conflict between the Americans and the Spanish. Who will emerge victorious? If you want to see what happens next, make sure you're subscribed. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.